Right then, the PlayStation Classic, PlayStation Mini as I'm inclined to call it because it's pretty small. We have looked at it already in its standard form. If you haven't seen my video looking at it, why not? But no, I did say in that video that I was going to hack this thing or jailbreak it or whatever you want to term it, where you can put your own games on it. I have now done that. It was not extremely difficult. There were one or two things that did not go entirely to plan and took me a little while to figure out why I was having trouble, and I'll talk about that here in a bit. Things you will need if you're going to hack one of these and run custom firmware on it. A USB stick. This one is 32 gigabytes. Larger would be better, but there is one important thing about using one of these. It needs to be a low powered stick. How do you find out if you've got a low powered stick? I have no idea. Suck it and see, really. Yeah, you'll know if it doesn't work, because it won't work. Will that damage your PS1 Classic? I don't know, because mine worked. Basically, at your own risk. I believe the potential is to knacker your USB stick just to the extent that you need to reformat it. I don't believe it will knacker your PS1. I cannot guarantee this, so you do it at your own risk. I'm not going to explain the process of how to put the custom firmware on it, because what I'm going to do is link to a video by ETA Prime. His video is very good. It was his video that I used to do mine, basically. There are also full instructions on the modmyclassic.com BleemSync website, I think. Yes, there is. I'm looking at it here. How to install from fresh, including OGT setup. It's the first thing on the screen. Well, no, it's not, but it's the first thing in the list of things, instructions and stuff. Let me... There. Yeah, it was focusing on my finger and not the text. So, watch the video, read those instructions as well, and you will see how to install the custom firmware on one of these here doofers. Now, having done that, and that was, it's easy. It is a piece of cake. It is literally a case of stick some files on this, plug it in there, turn it all on. While you plug that in first before you plug anything else in. You don't want any power going to your console. Don't have your HDMI plugged in. Don't have your power supply plugged in at all. You don't want any residual power going to this from anywhere. You plug that in, then you turn it all on, and it does its thing. And then you've got to get games onto it, and in fact you don't put the games onto here, you put the games onto here. Follow ETA Prime's instructions for putting the custom firmware on. Now then, getting the games onto your memory stick to get them onto here is... it's not as straightforward as it sounds initially watching ETA Prime's video. The problem is not with his instructions. It is that the kind of files it requires, if you do it the way he initially showed it, using the the console BleemSync UI, that's what he used. It requires bin and Q. And if you don't have bin and Q, it don't work. You're supposed to be able to use a whole load of other file types like ISO and just bin. It doesn't. It just doesn't. It didn't work for me anyway. I stuck a whole load of things on there and it just went duh. So I didn't do it that way. What I did was actually a mishmash of where is it? This BleemSync drag and drop transfer method. Now, there's a lot of information there that it is worth reading. I sort of did a mishmash of that. I'm going to throw my USB stick on the floor, but I'm also going to plug the USB stick into my PC. If I can work out which way round to plug it in, because it's USB and it's the law, you have to plug your USB your USB stick in the wrong way round so it won't fit. And if you don't do that, well, okay, so you get a whole load of files on your folders. I'm tired, alright? I've had a long weekend. It was good though. You'll get a whole load of stuff on it that will be put there by default when you install your custom firmware. A folder you will get will be this one, transfer. This is a place to put bin and queues or ISOs or bins or IMG files. You just put them into this and then you plug it into your PlayStation Classic and you turn it on, and it will automatically transfer those files, if they're the right kind of files, into the games folder and set up a default icon on your big kind of game selection wheel thingamajig. And let me get rid of these because these didn't work. Not every game that you try will work. I haven't been able to get any Wipeout games to install. I don't know why. I've tried different files. I've been actually unable to rip my Wipeout discs for reasons that I don't know. I'm using a program called Image Burn to rip the discs, and I've done that with most of my discs. I've ripped them and put them on as bin and queues. Image Burn is a good program for ripping bin and queues, but yeah, that didn't want to work. But generally, put your bins and queues, your image files, your ISO files into this transfer folder, plug it into your PlayStation Classic, and it'll do all the work for you. Theoretically, there is on here somewhere on this page a link to a whole load of PNG files. It's where it says on here. I don't know where they are. I don't know where the link is. So look for that link yourself if you like. And if you include the required PNG image files into that transfer folder, it will give you the cover graphic to go with your game on that big game wheel thing. I haven't done that. I didn't do it that way. I didn't go look for the big zip file face. Fuck me, what am I talking? I didn't go and look for the big zip file. Tired, so tired. Yeah, I did it a different way, and I'll show you what that way was now. Bear with me. Okay, we're on the laptop. Why are we on the laptop and not my desktop computer that we were looking at a moment ago? Because, for reasons that I don't know, it simply did not want to work on my desktop computer. I think there were some driver files that just didn't install onto my desktop. I don't know why. Could I find out what those were and install them on there? Almost certainly yes, but I just didn't bother. I just tried installing or doing this on my laptop and it worked straight away, so it's like right, using the drag and drop method to put files onto the USB stick, how to get the cover art on there. We use this here BleemSync UI thing that I didn't use to transfer the actual game files. You scroll down until you find this item number 8. Go down to go visit the bleemsyncui.com, or failing that, click this here. Both of those links do the same thing, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and you try one or the other. Now, to get this working, you have to have your PlayStation Classic plugged into your laptop, computer, whatever you're using via USB. You need to have the USB stick plugged into your console. You need to not have the HDMI cable plugged into your console. Yeah, and then you will get to this Games Manager. You can pick whatever game you've installed onto your stick and put your cover art in there. I just grabbed these off of the internet. I put in PS1 Gran Turismo 2 cover art onto Google, and it gave loads and loads of image files, and I downloaded them, and you then quite simply drag and drop the graphic to this space here. It won't look like this until you've dragged your cover art. So you do that, you on your desktop, you pull up whatever folder you've got loads of graphics on that you've downloaded them to, you drag and drop it into there, and then you scroll down and you click update game. That will update all of the information on your USB stick, and the next time you fire it up connected to your telly, your big game wheel thing with all of your graphic files, you know, where you click it and say I want to play this game, it will have that graphic file there, and it will look all nice and pretty. This is also the place to go if you want to delete games off of your stick and do it properly, so that the operating system thingy recognises you don't want this anymore. And I'm about to do that now, because where is it? Forgotten what game it was. Brain, work now please. Tomb Raider. It all looks good and proper on here, and the game does boot, but when you get to you get like the intro sequence, you get the options, you get all the stuff you think you're going to get, and then when you go to play the game it just doesn't. You get a black screen and it doesn't work. So I'm deleting this. There we go, game gone. I will find another. I can't remember, did I rip that disc myself or did I download that off Tinterwebs? Not sure. I'm going to have to go back into my I'll try ripping it. I think I downloaded that one. But that's that. That's how to get your PS1 games onto your PlayStation Classic. Now there is another question that bears looking at. How do you play games that aren't PS1 games? Because you can play Mega Drive, you can play SNES, you can play Atari, basically loads of different systems. I have had it running up to N64, but then you kind of run into issues like you gotta have a different controller, because you're not going to play N64 games with one of these. I suppose you could configure it depending on the game. I tried playing Mario Kart 64 and the game ran, but I couldn't steer it because I didn't have the right kind of controller. I could probably have configured it to work with that, but I didn't. That's one for me to look at later. I want to try Dreamcast. I haven't got round to that yet. How do you get those emulators onto this thing? Good question. Bear with me. Okay, we're on a web page. It is classicmodscloud.com. I will link to it down in the info place. It will give you a whole load of cores to put on RetroArch, which came installed already on your custom firmware. You've got a whole load of cores for different systems, so you pick the one that you want, or ones that you want, you click on them, you download them. Okay, so you've got your cores. Now you need to put them into RetroArch. How do you do that? There is a video out there that explains how to do it, but it's out of date. Don't do that. You won't find where it tells you to do it. Open your USB stick. You will find this BleemSync. It will be there automatically already. Go into that. You'll then have I guess that's option, go there. RetroArch, go there. .config, go there. RetroArch, go there. Cores, and dump your core files that you downloaded in there. Once you've done that, you will be able to boot into those cores in RetroArch, but you want some ROMs, don't you? Now, on the video that I watched, it also told you where to create your a folder to put your ROMs, and it told you to do it in there somewhere. Don't, for God's sake, you'll never find it. You want it at a high level. I put it, where the hell did I put it? I put it here, right at the top level. You got your Bleem Sync, you got whatever the hell that is, you got your games, all of these things that are automatically made. I made a folder called ROMs, and in that I put other folders, 2600 MAME, Mega Drive, N64, SNES, and I put the ROMs that I'd got into those. Do it that way, put it at a really high level, somewhere it's going to be really easy to find. Basically, root folder, ROMs. And that's it. And then I'm going to swing the camera around, we're going to boot the thing up, and you can see what it looks like, because that's what I do in it. Bear with me some more. Okay, so you will get your boot menu here. We can go through to the Bleem Sync PS1 emulator doofer. It sort of shuts itself off for a moment and then boots up and then gives you that. I think we've seen that already. Can't remember. And then you get your big game wheel that I kept referring to. I don't know what other people call it. With all your games that you've put on it. It'll have all of the standard ones and all the ones you've added. And, whoops. And it's cool. It's worth noting, while I said you want to use a low-powered USB stick, and you do, you also want to use a reasonably fast one. I tried this with a different stick that I just happened to have knocking around. That was a 64GB one, and it was slow as anything, and literally this screen lagged. I'd push a button to make it cycle round, and it would just not respond for a while. And I thought it's locked up. No, it was just loading up to stop that graphic. Yeah, so you don't need an especially fast one, you just need to not use a slow ass one like what I did. So that's that, but we want to see RetroArch, because, well, you know what all the PS1 games are. You put on the ones of your choosing. Maybe you'd like to see what ones I put on. Let's go to the start and I'll let you see. Actua Soccer, Ballerina Toshinden, Casper. Not actually, I've never played that, but I put that on for someone in particular. Yeah, Cool Borders 2, that was a standard one. Crash Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, Crash Team Racing, Destruction Derby, that's a standard one. Die Hard Trilogy, Mickey's Wild Adventure, that's cool. Einhander, weird Japanese shooter, standard one. Formula 1, great game. Gran Turismo 2, great game. Grand Theft Auto, so that's standard. Hello Kitty, White Present, that's a really cool game. I was showing that to some people yesterday who all laughed at me, and just were not convinced that this is a good game. It is. Harmful Park, strange Japanese shooter, it's great. Yeah, don't know anything about that. Whoops, Jumping Flash, standard game. Jumping Flash 2. This, I didn't know anything about this, but it was recommended by someone who was bang on the money when they said it's a good game. It's a good game. Weird Japanese thing, MDK, brilliant. Standard game. Motor Racer, great, love it. Standard game, standard game. Weird Japanese game. Standard game, standard game, standard game. RetroArch, yeah, I don't know anything about that. Ridge Racer, because you gotta, ain't you? Need for Speed, Road Rash, Spyros, Street Fighter EX Plus Alpha, really cool, like it. Yeah, that, Tempest X3, you gotta, I mean it's like Tempest 2000 done by other people, I don't know, their conversion of it basically. Is it exactly the same as the Jaguar game? I don't really know, to be honest. Thunderhawk 2, Firestorm, love it. Standard game, don't like it. V-Rally 2, this is not exactly, I wanted V-Rally 2 Championship Edition, which is like the European version. This is Need for Speed. I don't know how different it is, to be honest. I seem to remember it being slightly different, but whatever, this was what I got. Yeah, that. Xevious 3D G+. It's cool. I've done a video of most of the ones that I've added, actually. There was a really weird Japanese one that I wanted to put on that I couldn't make it work, which was a shame. But anyway, go back to the boot menu, and then we'll go to we could have just gone to RetroArch, but I couldn't be bothered to cycle round the screen again because I'm lazy. And this is what you get. It looks different from how videos I saw were of it. Were something words. I'm just hearing I saw now and thinking it's not that ugly. Anyway, so you load your core, having installed them already. We'll go for the snares because, and then you go to load content, and this is where it's a good thing to have put them in a high level folder. So you come to this and you go down to media, and that will get you to the first folder that you will recognize. If you'd have put them lower down in the file structure, it's just a pain in the ass to get to them. ROMs, snares, and you know where I'm going. God. Yeah, there we go. That one. Is it that one? It's probably that one. Because some emulators have trouble playing this reliably and effectively and well and stuff, and you'll end up with like jittery, poor frame rates. So I try it with this game, and there are different cores for the snares that you can try, loads of different cores for RetroArch, and it's like find one that does it well. This was the first one I tried, and it does it just fine. It's perfectly acceptable. Slightly fuzzy. It's like it's filtered a bit. I don't know if that's. I imagine that's something you can tinker with on the emulator settings. I haven't bothered tinkering with the emulator settings. I just like don't care. Yeah, start and select to come back to this menu. Yeah, and load another core, load more content, whatever. That is it. That's how it works. I'm not going to go and play loads of games on it. Safe to say that those emulators that I loaded work. It will play Star Fox, Star Wing adequately. I don't know if it's like proper full on. It seemed about the right kind of speed, frame rate, everything. It played it. So that's good. That's really all I've got to say on it. Largely, the tutorial videos you will find are useful, but they're a little bit out of date and they don't necessarily give you all of the information. This video is perhaps not ideal because I'm rambling and waffling a lot and stuff. I'll try and edit it to be coherent. One other thing you will want if you're gonna hack your PlayStation Classic is one of these, because you're gonna keep your USB stick into USB port 2, and if you want to play 2-player games, you want a hub or a splitter or something like splitters. Yeah, something like this. So you can plug 2 controllers in. And be careful, because some of these that you find, they will split your USB signal whatnot, but you'll have one that will send data and one that will only send power, and that's no good. You want data on both of them, so pay attention when ordering. There are probably going to be 1,000,000,001 questions, because I have probably left out details that I needed to include. But there you are. That should give you a clue. Because it should be really, it is straightforward, but the information in some videos is not all up to date, which meant I had to do an amount of tinkering and investigating and stuff. Okay, gonna shut up now and do a lot of editing to try and make this coherent. Thank you for watching.
Ah, there you are. Have you finished polishing the silverware like I asked you? Yes? Splendid. Here's 50 pence. Now, go and click the subscribe button like a good peasant.